Sir Martin Luther King said, "If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. And if you can't walk, crawl. But whatever you do, just keep moving." A little bit of progress every day leads to big results. Welcome back to Friday Food for Thought. My Dubai presents Friday Food for Thought in association with Waterfront Market and Al Adil Trading Company. We're back at our favorite Danube home, and joining us is our expert Rashi Chowdhary, who's going to talk to us about food and nutrition. Welcome back, Rashi.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Rashi, we're doing the last and final episode of Friday Food for Thought. What have you prepared for us today?
You know, after we posted the first web series, I had so many DMs about this topic called food psychology. And I think people resonated a little bit with it, especially the ones who are constantly on diets, never being able to get off this whole diet rut. So we're going to talk a lot about that. And I love that topic as well. And we're also going to bust some common myths around nutrition because so many people are so misinformed. So we're going to bust some myths as well.
That's a lot of stuff. So food psychology and busting myths.
Yes.
Let's get straight into it. What is food psychology?
So basically, I think this is one of the missing pieces, This is why we have a $1 trillion weight loss industry, because we haven't gone deep down and understood what is our food psychology. And that's basically what, the psychology around food, how we think about our food. Now, it's like if I keep a plate of, say, fish and chips or say, I don't know, rice, chicken and veggies in front of 10 people, no two people will have the same response to that food. Everyone's going to think about that food differently. An athlete will look at it and say, oh, this is protein, carbs, it's my fuel. A vegan, I believe you're vegan.
That would be me,
yes. You would probably look at the fish and get repulsed, or look at the chicken and feel like, this is not my scene. Someone who loves food will obviously look at this plate of food with a whole lot of joy. And I think someone who's on keto will be guilty, right?
Because of the carbs in it.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. What we now know, and this is interesting, how we metabolize food depends a lot on how we feel about our food. So if I'm eating, today's Friday, and I'm going to indulge in a nice rich chocolate cake.
Oh, yes.
I love that. Now, if I'm going to sit and eat it with a whole lot of guilt, here's what happens. There's a hypothalamus in my brain, which is going to pick up on this negative input, give an inhibitory response to my digestive tract, which means the food will stay there longer, which means my gut bacteria can't flourish, which means because I've eaten the food with so much guilt, it's going to stay longer and the way it digests will be affected.
Okay, so hang on a second. So what you're saying is, I've just had a decadent slice of chocolate cake and I'm feeling guilty as I'm eating it. So I'm not able to digest it because of this guilt. It sits longer and it just makes me fatter because I'm thinking like that.
I mean, that's a very simplistic way of putting it, but ask somebody who struggled with emotional eating. And they will tell you again and again that while I'm eating it, I am so guilty, but I'm still eating it. And the next day I feel like, I don't feel so good about myself. And I'm obviously everyone will be slightly higher on their weighing scale. But people who struggle with this weight loss thing, they always check their weight the next morning, although they know it's going to be a lot more. It's like a form of punishment, But the good thing is that we know this association now, the way we feel about food says a lot about how we're going to digest the food. And that is food psychology. And it's so interesting because I see it with so many of my clients. Haven't you seen there are some who are just very easy about their food?
Yeah.
They'll just eat it, not feel guilty, and they feel okay. And they may even have a little bit of extra weight on it, but they're not so, their life doesn't depend on it. Their mood doesn't depend on it.
I have a question. So conversely, some people are on diets and they're forced into a diet.
Yeah.
And there's a plate of absolutely good food on it and you don't feel like eating it. How's that affecting me?
That again, right? How long is that sustainable? When you're eating every single day, you're just going to have a dry piece of chicken with like veggies. How long is it going to sustain you? It's not fun. And as human beings, we're emotional beings, We eat for every emotion. And every time I think that we are not able to handle our internal environment and we're not processing our emotions properly, we feel out of control, right? And automatically, because as humans, we have the need for certainty. We want to find control outside. And we do it in so many ways. Some people are OCD, Some people, they want to control the environment all the time. There are some who are just very strict about their timings. They want to control that. But the easiest thing to control in the external environment is
how you
food.
feel.
Yeah, no, so that you feel better is food.
Right.
It's the easiest thing to control because a rich chocolate cake is never going to disappoint me. You know?
Yeah.
That's
A
never
man
disappointing.
might disappoint me, but not rich chocolate cake.
A rich chocolate cake is just life.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you were talking about emotions and how you approach food with certain kind of emotions. You know, you had a long, stressful day. Okay?
Yeah.
And how do you go home and how do you manage that anxiety instead of reaching out for food? What would your main tip be? How do we approach it?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. And I talk about this a lot because so many people come and they're like, fine, I can follow the diet, but there are days I'm just feeling anxious, or there are days I'm just bored. We eat even for boredom. Sometimes you just eat because we're more relaxed when you're back from work. So now what's helped me the most is mindfulness. What is mindfulness according to you?
Mindfulness is being present in that moment and knowing what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Brownie points for me.
Yeah, absolutely, right? It's about being in the moment and coming to that moment, and most importantly, breaking up with the stories going on in your mind. Because the minute you do that, suddenly you have pure silence in your mind. If you break up with all those stories and you detach from those stories, that's a better word. The minute you do that, you realize there's a pause. Okay, so let's put this in a proper scenario, okay?
Right.
I've come back from work. I've had a really stressful day. I'm sitting on the couch and I'm feeling really relieved. I'm happy that my day is over. And I'm like, you know what? I'm sitting on the couch, I'm watching Netflix. I want to pick up my phone and order something.
Right.
I'm in that zone. And I'm feeling these things and I'm like, I just want to order. Now, at this point, if I practice mindfulness, I come to that place of pause, right? Because I've disconnected from all the stories in my head.
Okay.
This pause is where our power lies. This pause is where we can choose to be actually three things to
So
ourselves.
are you suggesting that we just sit for a moment and say, what am I feeling right now? What should I eat?
That would be perfect.
Okay.
But sadly enough, that will not happen if you don't practice it on a daily basis. Which is why on Instagram, I'm always talking about mindfulness, trying to take a sip of water and remembering to be present with it. You have to start practicing these things. Otherwise, in that moment, when I am feeling hungry, bored, edgy, tired, anxious, I'm going to pick up the phone and order what I want to order. But yeah, coming back to that place of pause is your power. And that's where you get to choose who you want to be. And here's what I do, right? So I either choose to be a parent to myself, a child, or an adult.
That sounds like transactional analysis.
Yeah, but you know what? It really works. I'll tell you how.
Tell me.
So if I'm being a parent to myself, I've taken that pause and I'm like, I want to be that parent, which is, by the way, just 5% of the times. I'm not able to do this yet. I will be like, you know what? I'm just bored. This cake is not helping me. I'm going to feel good for a while, but then what? I'm going to be bored again, right? Because I'm using an external thing to make myself feel better inside. Never works. So I'll be the parent to myself, pick up the phone, call up my friend, chat to her, call up my dad, speak to him, go for a run, do these things to sort of divert my attention, but also use it productively. That's being a parent.
Okay.
Sometimes, and I think 20% I'm here, I become a child. I want to order everything. I'm going to order the chips and the cake and the this and the that and eat it like a child, which means eat it without guilt. Kids are never guilty when they eat whatever they eat, right? They just eat and they're happy about it. So that's what I be. And then most of the times, here's where I am. I become an adult to myself.
What's the difference between being a parent and an adult?
So I think about it, right? As an adult, I can make responsible decisions. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do as an adult. So what I would do is, if I'm feeling this craving and I've taken this pause, I've come to the moment, then as an adult, I would be like, you know what? I'll pop in a truffle because I know exactly what's in it. I know how healthy it is. I know it loves me back. So I'd pop in a truffle. If not, then, because sometimes even a truffle doesn't do it, right? Then I would be like, order a healthier dessert, like a vegan brownie. I know exactly where to get it from, and it does the trick for me.
Okay, I have a question for you. Now, assume that we're looking at a donut.
Yeah.
Okay, and I know how much you like donuts. Imagine the same scenario, there's a donut. How would a parent approach that donut, a child and an adult approach that donut?
So a parent would keep it away. No
Deny
sugar, yeah. A parent would keep it away. A child would eat it all up, but eat it without guilt, which is so cute. You can totally eat it without guilt. It's fine if that's where you are. And an adult, most of the times what I do, I have half. I have 3 bites. I leave it for later on. I share it with someone.
So would you say that we need to be an adult more often or a child more
I
often?
think in all of our, I feel at least, in all of our entire life, once we, are past, I think, 25, being an adult, more of an adult to yourself always helps. Because as a parent, you'll still, you know how parents are. They're just so, they're
Extremely strict and...
Yeah, and most
so
often
like-
parents are coming from fear. They don't want us to be happy as much as they want us to be safe.
Right.
You know what I mean? Parents are always operating from fear. But as an adult, you're operating more from a place of love, I think.
Right.
At least most of us try. Or we're more aware of that.
Okay.
So I like this. I like doing this.
I like that too. I'll use that tip. So which brings us to the second section of today's episode, and we are going to bust some nutrition myths. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so these are some of the myths that our viewers have sent us.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with the first one, which is on everyone's mind. Eggs raise your cholesterol level.
Okay, what do you think?
Okay, I'm really confused now because I know there's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, so I don't know. I'll just pass that question.
Okay, let me simplify it, all right? So, the dietary cholesterol, which means the cholesterol that we get from our food, and the cholesterol in our blood are two different things.
Wait. Say that again.
The dietary cholesterol, the cholesterol that we get from the food, like eggs and shrimp and ghee and coconut oil, all of this is very different from the cholesterol that our body makes.
Okay.
It's logical to think that what I eat, if I eat cholesterol, my cholesterol will be high. But that's far away from the truth because our body self-regulates cholesterol. So you can eat your eggs, and in fact, you must eat your eggs because that cholesterol does not raise your cholesterol inside. There are, however, 40% of people, just because of their genetic makeup, their cholesterol, especially LDL or total cholesterol, does go high sometimes, especially when they start coconut oil and stuff. But that raise in LDL, which is actually the bad cholesterol, it does not have an impact on heart diseases. Right. These people are called hyper-responders.
Okay.
So what I want to actually say to anyone who's watching, please don't get paranoid when you see your lipid profile, and if your total cholesterol is high, that's fine. Go straight to the ratio. See the ratio of your total cholesterol and LDL to HDL. HDL is the good cholesterol. A lot of doctors sometimes, and this is in no means to try and attack any doctors, but honestly, that ratio is important. So a lot of doctors don't even recommend that, So the ratio is important. Plus, if your ratio is slightly off, I would highly recommend that people do an NMR profile or a cardio IQ test because this is the future of cholesterol.
Wow.
It's not the basic testing that we do.
Very complicated.
It's really not. It's just something that you have to ask your doctor for.
Okay. So the answer to that question is not a straightforward one.
Eggs are amazing. Eat your yolk. Don't throw it away. It's got vitamin A, D, E, K, and a lot of omega-3. We see omega-3 eggs, and then we eat the white, we throw the yellow. The yellow is the omega-3. So what is this, Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Next question I have for you is about fruits. Fruits have natural sugars that make you fat. True or false?
I'm going to ask you this again. What do you think?
Yes, it has natural sugars. Does it make you fat? I suppose how your body metabolizes it, every body's different, no?
I think let's agree on one thing, right? No one thing can make us fat. I think we can agree on that.
Right.
Of course, if I have, say, a handful of almonds and I have, a banana, obviously my sugar level is going to go up really quickly with the banana. The faster it goes up, the faster it's going to drop. The faster it drops, I'm going to feel more hungry, edgy, tired. I want more carbs. When I eat a handful of almonds,
it fills you up more.
It fills you up more.
Longer.
It'll keep you long, 100%. Because your sugar level has a steady rise. Having said that, kiwis, papayas, berries, apples, oranges, these are all good fruits. And that doesn't mean mango and banana are bad. But what I'm not happy with is how a lot of people do fruits all day, like a GM diet. We were talking about the other.
Fruitarian. I know people who are fruitarians.
Look, there's a whole different concept. And I've, done a lot of research on this. There are people who reverse their diabetes having just fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
And that's
but we
supposed
can't
to be
talk
done.
about that.
I mean, that's a whole different topic,
Sure.
But the point is that when it comes to fruit, don't start eating too much fruit because it is going to raise your sugar levels. If you're sensitive in terms of insulin, if you're sensitive about, if you have PCOS, all of that, you got to be really careful of how much fruit you're taking in. What is a problem is fruit milkshakes, fruit yogurts, because that's sweet fat. Yeah. And I picked up this from Dr. Mark Hyman. He talks about sweet fat, where we mix a whole lot of bad fat from dairy and we combine it with sugar from fruit. And most often it's fruit concentrate. And this together, in fact, goes to the first myth. This raises your cholesterol. Sweet fat, too much sugar, too much carbs together raise your cholesterol, and not really fruits or
So everything
eggs.
in moderation.
No, there's just so much I want to say about that, but I'm going to
go to the next one.
Yes.
Okay. This is something we grew up listening to. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Well, I disagree. I think we have to work with our appetite, not against it. You'll notice a lot of people just don't feel the need to have breakfast. You know, they just feel like, no, I don't feel like having breakfast. And that's okay. But that doesn't mean you make your dinner the biggest meal. Right. Because we want to go by the circadian rhythm. We have a body clock inside. We want to go by the sun and moon cycle. After 6:30, 7 o'clock, your body wants to secrete melatonin. But if I'm going to eat a big dinner just because I haven't had breakfast, or to compensate, or because I'm doing an intermittent fast or whatever, because some people now eat at 2 o'clock, and they'll go up to 10. It's not the best thing because you're going against your circadian rhythm, That's the time your body wants to rest, relax, be in that digest
So what
mode.
is a good time to have breakfast? Is whenever you're feeling hungry?
Whenever you're feeling hungry, but just make sure that you stop eating early, and just because you've had skipped breakfast, don't have a big dinner. It'll interfere with your melatonin production.
Okay, so it's not like you have a big breakfast, a small lunch, and an even smaller dinner, or does that work?
No, a smaller dinner is great. A smaller dinner would be great, and you can have big breakfast, or again, go by appetite. So some people, I generally have butter coffee, and then I'll pick up a handful of nuts, I'll pick up 3 truffles, I will just pick up a banana some days with a few nuts, or just 2 eggs. Keep it light if that's what you want. But don't skip breakfast because you want to lose weight. What is your intention behind skipping breakfast? Keep that in mind. If it is to go and flow with what your body wants and your body wisdom, go for it.
I've got 2 more for you.
Go ahead.
This one is got to do with bread, our most favorite food. Multigrain bread is healthier than white bread.
It's like choosing between 2 evils. It's like asking me, is Diet Coke better or regular Coke?
Multigrain bread is not good then?
I mean,
I'm really confused
again, because of the gluten bit, and we've spoken a lot about this in the past, you got to be a little careful. Most of us are gluten sensitive, or over time will become, because our gut just can't handle gluten anymore. So I would say when it comes to bread, go for sourdough bread, because that's 97% gluten-free. It's pre-digested gluten, better on your gut. Go for those paleo breads, which are made from almond flour and stuff.
But aren't they like super thick?
Yes, they're super thick, they're super dense, so you can have a little bit and you'll be full. Plus, you won't get that surge that you get with regular bread, So multigrain bread, definitely sort of better than white bread. What I do want to add is that brown bread is a complete no-no. Because
is that just color added to it?
It's just caramelized sugar added and it's brown, and it just makes no sense. So if you really must choose between multigrain and white, of course pick multigrain. Like if you really had to choose between Diet Coke and regular, I'd pick regular.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to the last one, which is kind of related to our current scenario. Having vitamin C boosts your immunity.
Yeah.
I know people on a heavy orange and lemon diet at the moment. What do you think about
I'm
that?
busting that right now. Let me tell you. So basically, again, no one thing can help your immunity. All right, we know that. Vitamin C has proven to heal us faster during an illness or a cold or flu, but not prevent it. Not necessarily prevent it. Now, I give my clients about 2,000 milligrams, that's 2 grams of vitamin C every single day. It's a must. Add it in your diet just as a... one orange has 50 mg of vitamin C. So I need 20 oranges a day to get 1 gram of vitamin C. Like people are drinking orange juice, they don't realize how much sugar is going in. It's going to go and bring your immunity down. So the best way to get vitamin C is either through, the right supplement. And there's a whole different deal on what is the right supplement as well. That's questionable. But if you can afford it, I'd say do an IV. At the clinic,
inject it into your system?
Intravenously, yeah.
Oh gosh.
It's very common. It's popular now. More and more people are understanding it. That's an effective way to do it. If you can't, then please don't depend just on vitamin C. There are a couple of other things which I do want to, people are taking notes, like they should just take notes and put this down.
No.
So there are 3 more which are amazing for your immunity. Add a vitamin D3. If you're doing fat first and, having a tablespoon of fat every morning, have your D3 with that. The absorption is much better. 5,000 IU is good. Just make sure D is always in the D3 form, not D2. Then there is glutathione, but the reduced form, which is really good. It's a beautiful antioxidant, very powerful antioxidant. Does more than what vitamin C can
So
do.
you get them in capsules?
In capsules. Again, you can take it intravenously, but capsules are fine. If you are worried about your liver and stuff, then start with 250 mg in the reduced form, and that's good. And then there is zinc 50 mg, which you can also take. 4 of these together, along with making sure you're adding turmeric, cinnamon, pepper, these kind of things, sleeping well. Again, I'm going to go back to the web series 1, making sure those 5 principles are kept in mind and balanced.
It's almost a refresher now.
Yeah.
Of course, going back to what we learned in the
yeah,
past.
when it comes to immunity, it's a lot of things together, right? So those 5 principles have to come together.
That's a complex lot of information that you so simplified for our listeners. So thank you so much, Rashi, for such an amazing episode.
Thank you for having me.
But this is not the end, because I know a lot of you have questions to ask. So keep those questions rolling. Do follow Rashi on Instagram. Her handle is @Rashi Chowdhary. She also writes a column for Friday, so do follow that. And we will be back for more such things. We'll hopefully see you again on another show.
I'd love to.
For the very last time, My Dubai presents Friday Food for Thought in association with Waterfront Market and Al Adil Trading Company. Massive thanks to our partner who's hosted us for the last 4 episodes, Danny Home. We couldn't have done it without you. We hope you've enjoyed these episodes. Do write to us and let us know. Until next time, stay healthy and stay hydrated.